I hope you're clear on how we went from a comprehensive income statement to a detailed income statement and look at the various components. Now we're going to do a complete financial postmortem of the detailed income statement. That is this part over here. Okay. So first, let's begin with every formula or every margin or the income which is derived by deducting one component from the other. So first, that is going to be a gross margin analysis done. So first of all, what is gross margin? How is gross margin derived? As a formula stated over here, revenue minus cost of revenue, that is this minus this gives you the gross margin. So now we're going to compute the gross margin percentage first of all to determine, is the gross margin percentage decreasing on a quarter by quarter basis? Is it stagnant, same, or is it increasing? Ideally we are going to try to figure out, is the cost of revenue increasing? Is that the factor why the net income is reducing every quarter and quarter? So let's begin with that thing over here. First of all, let me write down the formula over here for you. Gross margin equals to revenue less cost of revenue. Okay. Now we're going to conduct a gross margin analysis. So this over here, which is going to be, we'll take the same format over here. Gross margin, and we did one more. Okay. So here we're going to replace this thing by gross margin percentage, which is going to be the gross margin divided by the revenue, that gives the percentage expressed in form of percentage over here. Gross margin divided by the revenue percentage, the same one over here. Oh, surprisingly this is increasing. As you can see over here, gross margin for the quarter 1 was 29%, it increased to 30% in quarter 2 and 32% in quarter 3. So based on this analysis, one thing is for sure, gross margin is, or the cost of revenue increase is not the factor for the decrease in the net profit. So what does this mean? First of all, let's interpret this thing. So based on this analysis, we can say that the gross margin percentage has increased, which means that the direct cost of the project, the cost of manufacturing the goods for the project, is not the reason for the increase, for the decrease in the net profit. Now, since the gross margin analysis did not work out, we'll increase our computation to the next part, that is going to be the operating income analysis. Now, in the same lines which we did for the gross margin over here, we're going to be figuring out that whether the operating income, which is derived by reducing the operating expense from the gross margin, is that responsible for the decrease in the net profit? Yes or no? We're going to come to the conclusion pretty soon, like we did for the gross margin over here. I'll just copy the same template over here first of all. You guys just rely on the final version, okay? Don't need to be banging your heads around the mechanical works over here. Operating income is equal to your gross margin minus your operating expenses. Minus operating expenses. So here we're going to be having now total revenues. Perfect. We don't need this cost of revenues, we need the operating income. So we're going to be putting this over here, operating income equal to, we'll try to do this all formula driven so it's easy for you guys to do on your own also. Bang, here we have it. It's supposed to be 20%, 22% and 23%. Okay, so again the operating income part is also increasing. One second. So based on this analysis, we can say that the operating income percentage is also increasing on a quarter by quarter basis. So even operating expenses are not a reason for the decrease in the net profit of the project. Okay, so that's how these computations come in handy. Surely the operating income part over here, operating expenses which are incurred specifically for the smooth operation of the project, even they are not responsible for the reduction in net profit. In fact, there is an efficiency achieved in both the areas, the cost of revenue as well as the operating expenses, because your gross margin and your operating income are rising quarter by quarter, are increasing quarter by quarter. They are not reducing, they are increasing quarter on quarter. So with this, we can conclude that Even operating income is not a factor for reduction in the net profit. Now last expense item which is pending is this other expense analysis. So we'll try to interpret the other expenses over here. The other expenses, they have increased drastically. Okay, you can say 14, it literally went to increase in a 50% over here, 23,000, in fact more than 50%, and from 23 it went to again on a higher level of 31,000. Now the first of all, these other expenses are not relevant to the project first of all. Okay, so the project manager X cannot be blamed for the increase in the other expenses. In fact, you can say that if project manager X project did not exist, the other expenses will be a burden on the other projects because of the operating income of 55,000, 62,000 and 69,000. The other expenses have been absorbed substantially by the project. And if we just compute the operating income analysis, we can say that project manager Mr. X project is performing an absolutely brilliant manner because it's giving a positive an increase in the net profit, operating income profit and the gross margin every quarter on quarter. That means his operational efficiencies are gone up. He is doing a great job in the operating part of the project, operation of the project, because he's able to achieve economies of scale and other standardization of the product process and all those things, which are ultimately leading to an increase in the better utilization of the project resources and giving an positive operating income quarter on quarter. Even his consumption of the goods, direct materials used in the project, direct labor involved in the project, the operational efficiency of that has increased because the gross margin is also going higher, is also increasing quarter on quarter. That means project manager Mr. X is able to achieve operational efficiencies on a higher scale. But because of this other expenses, now what can be these other expenses? It can be a common allocation of the head office cost. It can be a common allocation of the interest involved. Supposing the company has gotten a big revenue, it has got multiple projects, and it needed to take up a huge loan, which was needed to finance its assets, employ more manpower, and whatnot.